All right, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Talk with me, Coach Rio from the Prep Coach, and together with my co-host, Coach Sari Said.
Okay,
How
good
are you, buddy?
afternoon. Good. I'm good. I'm
I'm
good to be here.
Oh, it's afternoon right now, eh?
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lost track of time.
All right. Okay. First and foremost, I want to send our gratitude to Phil's Performance, Stretch Performance.
Correct.
Yeah, for sponsoring the location and
the
for
two mics.
for the two mics and whatever moving forward,
Yeah,
I would say.
correct.
Yeah. So as I've mentioned, I would love to bring this podcast alive, and probably this is the first step that we are doing so into basically covering more into bodybuilding and fitness in Singapore.
Correct. True.
Yeah.
So basically, what Coach you already said, we're gonna cover more on bodybuilding, fitness, and also general fitness in Singapore.
Yep.
And we're gonna cover topics, or rather, a multitude of topics based on fitness, bodybuilding, prepping, and nutrition, and also other stuff that encompasses all that is about fitness.
For sure,
Right.
for sure. Yeah, so I mean, before we hit and touch base on the bodybuilding scene in Singapore, I mean, probably you guys want to know more a bit about us, about myself and Sari. So, yeah, Sari, I mean, why not share something about your history, your background, and what have you done in the bodybuilding industry?
Well, I've been training all my time, right, since probably back in secondary school, and transition that to my military life. Of course, you have to train to keep fit, and
Yeah, for
whether
sure.
in a kind of more physically demanding job.
Yep.
And from there, I transitioned to a civilian life. I used that training actually to recover from my injuries, right,
Yeah.
which I had during my time in the military. So from there, I think I start to think that probably I can take this seriously, and start to probably build a base from there in terms of the physique and my knowledge on nutrition and other aspects of prepping for a show.
Yep.
So my first show was really far back in the late 90s or something like that, early, not too sure. It's a very long time ago, very newbie. And
Early 90s?
Early 90s, that's
Alright.
correct. So it wasn't that of a very good prep, right? And I vowed to myself, next time I were to compete, I would make sure that it'll be a good and well thought of kind of prep.
Definitely.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
From there, I learned how to customize my nutrition, training, and what works and what doesn't work. Right. So from there, I competed again. I can't remember which 2000s or something like that. Got in I would say decent, and of course I am a worst critic of myself, and people would know me. I will push really hard,
Understand?
and from there I take it as a point of experience, and then I push every time that I wanna compete again. I push a bit harder in terms of how I can push my body, nutrition, and even training to another level.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
So-
I would definitely love to know, and the audience love to know whether in early 90s to 2000 and stuff, I mean, were you self-coach or were you coaching with someone, and who do you look up upon during that era in bodybuilding, or
Okay.
probably just
Okay,
getting fit and stuff?
back then we do not have YouTube, right?
Yeah, for
we
sure,
don't have YouTube,
definitely.
so the only
MySpace?
point, no, only point of reference
Yeah.
that we would have, or rather investment that we would have, is buying muscular development.
Yeah,
that kind of
magazine,
magazine, yes.
VHS tape.
Yeah. You got the most is Master and Fitness and stuff.
Yep.
I will cover every single page. I will read it to the point where I will try to emulate what the pros are doing. And of course, when I realized that, actually I need to tweak certain movements, certain nutrition, certain way of prepping. Right from there, you learn.
How long before you all right, let me quote what I want to say again. How long before you get into and hire a coach for yourself?
Okay. After many magazines of muscular development, right?
Yeah.
So when the explosion of YouTube and start to really social media and everything start to really get you closer to those coaches, right? Via like emails and stuff like that. So I had a chance to kind of briefly work with Chris Acito.
Ah, nice,
Right.
Chris Acito.
Yeah,
Alright.
and then had a
The technician is right.
correct.
Yeah.
So it really opens up your eyes and open up your mind in new.
Did you purchase his His ebook.
Yeah, I do.
I do
it.
have his ebook in my
I-
laptop now.
The other laptop that I have. Sorry, the other laptop that I have. Okay, so the thing is that we exchange how I approach my training and everything is very blunt and very, what do you call it? I wouldn't call it regimental, but
I would say practical approach.
practical approach. Very. He follows in terms like what you have going on in life.
For sure.
Yeah. Then that's the first time I ever heard of carb cycling.
Mm-hmm.
I was really going down to really low carbs and
Yeah.
moderate protein kind of thing.
I see.
So that's where you actually, you push cardio really hard, like 2 hours. Even I've done 3 hours before
Understand. For
a
sure.
day.
Me too. Me too.
Okay?
Yeah.
So taking his approach is a bit more sustainable, and you make your body work for you.
Definitely.
Right. So
Yeah.
with that, I also make some tweaks to my own when I'm no more with him, and so I explore new ways of.
How long were you with Chris Atito?
Probably about almost a year.
Alright.
A year plus, and then after that, I have also seen some of ebooks on the what do you call it? The guy that Species Nutrition.
Dave Palumbo.
Dave Palumbo, yes.
Yeah.
That's another approach in what we call ketogenic diet, but he's more of like higher protein
Understand.
and not higher fat. Okay?
Understand. Yeah.
So all these ideas are, and both of them are good friends.
Yeah. Until now.
Yeah, till
Muscle
now.
Madness.
Yeah, correct. And then so in a way, I try to combine both approaches. If in case of like, I would do carb cycling beginning of the prep and so on and so forth. And if I want to push hard in terms of losing more body fat,
Dig in a bit more. Yeah.
dig in a bit more. Of course, I will use the ketogenic diet a bit more.
Right.
Yes, that will be a bit more mental.
Yeah, for sure. Not for everyone, right?
So, and that also, I will scale back the cardio a bit more. So, don't want
That's
to.
a lever. I mean,
Yes,
in
a lever.
a
Correct.
sense of
That's-
lever, just not
Correct.
engaging and activating all levers at once, like how the old time used to do lah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
cutting water, cutting
Yeah.
salt, cutting carbohydrates,
Yes,
and stuff
correct.
like that. Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's definitely. I believe your journey has been a very fruitful one.
Yeah, and
From self.
One takeaway I've taken from both of them, this notion of not drinking water for 3 days
Oh,
prior
been
to a
there,
show
man.
is to them, their own words will be nonsensical.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In fact, you have to do the opposite way.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need
for
to
sure.
load more water,
Yeah.
and you load more water with a bit more salt.
Yeah,
So that,
definitely.
the whole science of it is a bit too complicated to explain it in a compressed version of this podcast, but sooner, probably later on of the whole podcast, we can talk about it.
Yeah, probably that would be best. I mean,
Yep.
we touch base on a different episode
Correct.
on prepping, big week and stuff like that. And then I also agree with Sari in terms of, I mean, cutting water, salt and stuff like that. For me, I mean, just on the surface, I believe 3 fundamentals of big week is, I think you would agree with me as
Correct.
well. It's sodium, carbohydrate and water.
Yes,
They are
yes.
just 3 foundation. They are just like a domino effect.
Right.
One fundamentals out, the other 2 would not work. Am I agree to say that?
Correct, true.
Yeah. So
But
that
I would add on, for those 3 factors to work, you got to be lean to begin
yeah,
with.
for sure. I mean, in any cases, I believe whether you want to add additional compound, increase dosages, or pull out anything, or using
Correct.
any AI,
Correct.
you need to get your freaking body fat as low as possible
Correct.
to make things happen.
Yep. And also, don't forget the good amount of muscle tissue.
For sure,
Yes,
definitely.
correct.
So, I mean, that's the case. Just, I mean, with whatever conversation that we have right now, I mean, I believe that it will relay back to the scene, the bodybuilding scene in Singapore.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
Why I would want to cover this episode on bodybuilding scene in Singapore for our first episode.
Right.
I mean, in regards also with your experience and my experience, is the cause of whatever you have mentioned. Yes, by cutting water, by not burning body fat as much as possible before the last 6 weeks.
Correct.
Yeah, and playing around with carbohydrates without knowing the element of it.
Correct.
Yeah. So with that said, sorry, I mean, let's just dive straight into lah. I mean, I will go on also share on my
Yeah,
experience.
sure. Share about how you started all this to
Well, I
begin
mean,
with.
for myself, I believe when I started through bodybuilding and stuff, you were there. I was
Okay.
just a normal kiddo. Yeah.
I've seen you around. I tell
Yeah.
myself that this guy got potential.
Thank you very much. I mean, I've started into bodybuilding in terms I was basically I was inspired by a friend. I would give a shout out, Cody and Yvonne, a couple. Yeah, they invited me to a bodybuilding show in
I've seen
Kallang.
them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, once I've attended that show and see, I got mesmerized.
You got hooked, right?
Yeah, I got hooked, and I did try for a first show. So the first show was horrible. Why?
We all been there.
Yeah.
We all been there.
I would say horrible is not the show itself, but the horrible is the process.
Correct.
Because my expectation were here, but the truth is here.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah, so that's where comes with the wrong people who prep you, the wrong people sharing your knowledge, and doing what you're not supposed to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So after a while and stuff, to be honest, I've been so-called mentored, not coached before, by certain individual. So along the way after that, I self-prep myself, and I studied myself, did my own research,
Okay.
and yeah.
At your era, when you did your own research and you self-prep, what were the tools or rather publications or whatever not, or even social media that was at your ready to use?
Okay, I would definitely say that, I mean, when it comes to my time, it's slightly better than yours.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, slightly better than yours. I mean, there is already existence of YouTube, Facebook, in regards of bodybuilding is already there, but still not as much as what is it right now.
Yeah.
But still, what I did was, I mean, go through the net, looking at. Okay, the thing about me is, I believe, in general, people love to look at the athlete itself, right? But for me, I would overlook the athlete, but I would love to know who coaches the athlete.
Okay.
The reason being is
The
because
person behind the
yeah,
package.
the person behind the movie,
Correct.
you know. So yeah, so I'm a very curious person, and I always think that if one can do, I can do as well.
Correct.
So I
Or do better.
Yeah, or do better for sure. So I take the initiative to learn what the coach's mind is all about, how the approach, what is training system is all about, what's the advantage of training to failure, training in the sweet spot, or training not to failure.
Sure.
Yeah, because I believe there is a benefit in all angles and area.
Sure.
To in my terms, I would say periodization, when you need to use that and how you need to use that. Yeah.
Probably you're gonna to summarize it, how to utilize the whole package, the whole tools in a box, correct?
Yes, sure. I definitely agree with you. Yeah. So by then, I did by myself. Then I came to like you mentioned, going through the journey, self-coaching myself to a point whereby I feel that I can't. I want to be accountable. It's not that I can't be accountable by myself.
Correct.
But I want to be more accountable in terms of letting my mind stay at ease during preparation. So that's where I came across Sean, my coach.
Yep.
Yeah, from the UK. So working with him now, coming to at least 5 years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I believe working with a coach, it takes time to build chemistry. It takes time to build understanding, and you need to have the same philosophy
Sure.
and ideas to go to the destination that you want.
True.
Yeah.
Because okay, the only difference between having coaches here locally or even what do you call this, somewhere near Singapore, right? Okay, the one that I would like to interject is because when I coach some of my guys, right, we're very close. It becomes to a point that we're family. Because I
Understand.
will know the other house, the children responsibilities.
Yep.
So that plays also a little bit of a role, because you know where they're coming from and why they're doing this, and you know how far to push them without actually stopping them from doing the responsibilities, other responsibilities. So in a way, having a coach locally, if you guys want to have coach locally, is a good thing. When I say that, but you take it with a grain of salt, get the right coach, right? So someone that will actually consider you as a person, not just by number, right? Whether you can bring you to the stage in a very pristine condition and everything, but also consider that your health comes first, right? So this sport is not the most healthiest, even though it does promote health, but when you're prepping for a show, it's not the most healthiest thing ever. But also look at where this person that you're coaching, from a different point of view, you look at this person from who he is.
Sure.
Like, probably he has family and stuff like that. You have someone who needs him or her, whatever not. So you have to consider those points, right? So as you coach a person like that, it takes a very different paradigm, right? How you approach not only him, but also what will affect the rest of his family and so on and so forth. If it's a family man or a person or woman, whatever not, right?
For sure, definitely, I totally agree. Yeah.
That's the plus point if you're having a local one. If you have a overseas one, it's also good because that can be personalized depending on how well connected you are to the coach.
Definitely.
So of course,
are you stating this is based on an online or in-person coaching?
Online and in-person both.
In-person
right?
coaching.
So online, of course, it's a long distance kind of thing, right? So it depends on how much hours per week.
What kind of advice would you give to a new upcoming rookie that intending to compete? Should they straight away go for an international online coaches or a local based coach? I mean, nothing against online, nothing against local
guys,
coach.
yeah.
I just want to see. I just
My
want to
own
understand.
opinion,
Your opinion. Really.
Okay, my opinion.
I will give mine after this.
No worries. Of course, my opinion. Okay, my personal opinion. Firstly, you're just upcoming, and of course, within budget constraints and so on and so forth, get a local coach. And when I say get a local coach, get a one that's tried and tested. See his background. See his approach in terms of your nutrition, training, and so on and so forth, and what kind of accolades that person has, right? And making sure that you and that coach can work hand in hand, and you can have an understanding on both of you. Right? So he understands you and you understand him. Right? So that would be a bit more ideal in terms of having someone who are just up and coming. So when you're up and coming, you take a local guy, a bit more, what do you call it, proven coach. All right, so there's far in between. So you just make sure that you get yourself really dive deep and explore the catalog of coaches around here. Right? Okay, now your opinion.
Okay, I mean, if you guys see why I'm smiling and stuff, probably you can hear some background sound and stuff, but mind us.
We're recording
we are live, we're doing live recording here and stuff with the Fields team. Heidi is here, Shafiq's in
jumping
the house.
around.
they are practically doing service right now. So you will hear it's like a bit background, but I mean, we keep it raw and we keep it live.
Keep it real.
We keep it real as well. So I mean, back to your question in terms of what is my opinion of having online and in-person coaching. I mean, definitely, if you are talking about finance are good. That is one. Goes both way into online and in-person coaching.
Sure.
Just that basically I would always have this thin red line for one individual, a new rookie individual, to understand that having an online, when all the tools are delivered and given, can you
adhere to it?
One is adhere to it. Two is basically consume and understand and execute it proficiently. Right. Why I would say that is because from what I've been doing, from what I would say from my experience, from my experience itself, what is lacking in terms of doing online for individual that might not understand,
Yeah, true.
and we as a coach need to overlook more and touch base. I wouldn't say diet. Diet here and there can be adjusted as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say cardio. I wouldn't say PEDs. Yeah, but I would say training.
Definitely.
What I'm saying training is not that they not, just so you guys understand, it's not that telling them doing bench press they are doing push up, not that. It's just that basically telling them, giving a program and how we want it to execute, and telling them to keep it on a high intensity as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you move on to that, okay.
Let me touch base on this. Yeah. So as the audience also can understand why I'm saying this, is because whenever, based on my experience, whenever I touch base on intensity, the first thing on every athlete mind, I would say, is the weight of the exercise.
Nah.
Yeah. I would question them, why would you think that whenever intensity is mentioned, why is the first thing come to mind is the load? Because as what I get feedback from them, they say that, oh, it's because heavy, so I need more strength, I need more focus and stuff. But to a point where I make them understand intensity and progress overloading is not only about the weight
The weight on the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me expand on that. Okay. I would say the weight is relative, but doesn't
Yeah, for
mean
sure. Yeah.
doesn't mean that the weight doesn't carry any weight. If you
Yeah.
understand where I'm going.
Like I always use this to all my athletes and clients.
Okay.
Weight is a necessity but not necessary.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when you try to measure high intensity or intensity in a certain movement, you must understand how you move from point A to point B.
For sure.
The key thing, even I say it to my guys or even to a lifestyle client, intention.
Yes.
How-
Purpose.
purpose. What are you trying to get out of that certain movement?
Yep.
You want to have stimulation on your chest or
Yep.
delts. How are you going to move and execute that movement to its full intention?
Yep.
You want the muscle to grow. Of course, you need to go tempo, slower.
Exactly.
You're not going from point A to point B in a ballistic motion. So
Yep.
you need to control that weight. Regardless, you can put on a 5 kilo plate on both sides on a bar and make it feel as this is 30 kilogram on both
Exactly.
sides. So
Exactly.
you need to understand intention of the movement also equates to the intensity. But doesn't mean the weight is not weight on the bar is not important. It does,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to a certain degree of how you execute that movement.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. Because the confusion basically.
Correct, it's a confusion,
The
yeah.
argument, right? The argument, I would say that usually is common is a lot of individuals want to hit the PR, and they think that they are powerlifters, yet they want to be a bodybuilder.
Look, the judge won't ask you on stage, what's your PR?
Exactly, that's the point.
They judge a physique, right? It's a
Exactly.
physique competition. They judge on how you look on that day,
Yep.
which is actually a combination of how well you've been training, of course, your diet and everything.
For sure. Comes
All the
in play.
all the variables are there to show the judges the best package you put it on stage, but they will not ask you what's your PR.
Exactly. Spot on. All right. That is basically we have. I believe we have slightly sidetracked, just on the surface, nothing much. Yeah, but yeah, why not? we come back again to what we want to cover based on today's episode. Like we've mentioned, the bodybuilding scene in Singapore.
Correct.
So sorry. How would we spill this? What is your first basically view on the bodybuilding scene in Singapore currently?
Okay, I wouldn't say that we lack quality. Right, I would say we're lacking.
But I heard some say that we have no standards.
Okay, of course, when you talk about standards, it's very perspective, right? So, like remember, this is a physique competition. Your value in terms of how you see standard might differ from the other person's
Definitely.
standard, right? So that's why they have judges. Of
Yep.
course, they will have 7 judges,
Yep.
which will count all the points and
For
so on and
sure.
so forth, right? So I wouldn't say that we don't have standards. We do, but that standard need to be improved.
Definitely.
The only thing that probably we might not have, or rather lacking, is the quantity.
You mean quantity of quality individuals?
Yes, correct. The amount of people competing and the quality of physics out there. I'm not saying that whoever stand on stage and they try their best and doesn't look good on that day, they're not of a good pedigree. But the thing is that everyone tried their best, right?
True.
So the hard facts is that it is still a physique competition.
Definitely.
You have to be judged based on your physique. So whatever you do in terms of getting yourself on stage need to be done prior.
True.
You need to plan it properly. And when I say plan it properly, that's why I say if you have the means, get a coach that will guide you properly to where you want to go. And then in terms of like quality of guys, we need more people to actually, those who thinking of competing, take a step back first in terms of
Well, okay, what do you mean so that our viewers, our audience can understand? What do you mean by taking a step back?
okay, assess your genetics firstly. What are your, what do you call it, what are you lacking? Improve on what you're lacking. Doesn't mean you train 6 months 6 month training then probably in the 9th month or even the 10th month I want to compete. Look, this is
Unless you're a genetic freak.
yeah,
right?
unless you're genetic, that is by far, I mean, very rare.
Unless you're sebum.
That is unquestionable. But the thing is that, look, the meaning step back is, look, if you've been training only for 6 months, right, you have to take a hard look in how you look first. Have you actually tick the boxes that you think that you will be able to tick when you step on stage?
Yep.
Muscular maturity, density, symmetrical, well, whether you're well put,
Muscle balance.
balance, everything, the whole balance, the whole package.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if you're not there, I'm not saying that you shouldn't compete, but wouldn't you want to compete on stage, having the best look ever to show to your friends, family, and judges, and people be proud of, or rather you be proud of what you put on stage, right?
Yep.
So remember, bodybuilding or competing in a bodybuilding show is actually showcasing the end product of many years of training, right?
True.
So you need to take it slow. Bodybuilding, fitness, whatever, is not a 100-meter dash. It's more of a marathon or even a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, in my perception.
Yeah. Anyone who has competed before, if, to me, my own personal opinion, if after the show you pick out, eat whatever you want, I understand that. But you pick out, eat whatever you want for the next 6 months, it's not lifestyle, right? It's in fact detrimental to your health, right?
Definitely.
So the best thing you can do, treat it as a lifestyle, and you will have that package, or rather, you have about 70% of how you look on stage in real life.
There.
So that is actually a good base if you want to compete again. And then also do some justice to yourself, and also keep it to the point where you make it still healthy. If you pick out almost every day and then you tell like, okay, I want to compete again, and you kind of diet down again, and then at the end of the day you want to compete the same how you look prior to the last competition.
I mean, that's the knowledge and the in-depth. I would say that the practical movement into the scene is to be educated.
Correct. True.
Yeah, not only in training, but is to want to learn the process of it. Getting into off season, I would say the development season.
Correct.
Yeah, to improve themselves. That is much more vital in my perception, rather than on season. For me, on season is the best part.
Correct.
Where you are fully motivated because you know that you are going for war. Yeah, because when you are on off season,
The growth season.
I've seen a lot whereby the growth season. I've seen a lot of individual went off track. Yes, reason being is very simple. Because the goal is too far, and the goal is, I wouldn't say all coaches, but some coaches are not giving a clear outlook on how and what they want to see at the end of this push phase.
Correct.
Yeah, some doesn't have any validity. What I mean by validity is no end point. Yeah, because for me, I would work with my client, my athletes as well. More into development season. Every development season, I would push to at least 16 to 20 weeks at least. So for them to have mentally prepared that okay, this is the phase that we are going through. So they know that I'm still working for a validation.
Correct.
Every week, every month, and at the end of the 20 week. Do you agree with me? Because without validation, some are very hard to consume the idea of what am I working for?
Correct. See, in the push phase, I do agree what you say. In the push phase, it's a very arduous kind of way of doing it because you're gonna eat X amount of calories.
Yeah.
On point. It's in fact harder than actually being on a prep.
Like I said, it's harder. More of I will agree the food.
Yep.
The proper calories food, the clean food that need to be consumed. Yes, having all clean food is not
Bad idea.
it's-
But of course you I wouldn't say dirty. I would say that every now and then you will have like a cheat meal here and there.
Yeah, for
of
sure.
course, it's actually good to have
Yep.
to have that extra calories in you.
Yep.
Because when I look, there are people. In fact, for my lifestyle clients also, when I tell them, okay, look, you have a cheat meal, like probably this weekend,
Yep.
1 or 2 cheat meals. Oh no, wait, I put on weight. Okay, this also applies to in a very different approach, right? For the lifestyle clients, will be like, I put on weight, then blah, I have to explain. Look, you're gonna put on weight is because of the water, sodium, blah blah
Yep,
blah.
yep, yep.
Okay, then you will feel fantastic the next day. But for the guys who are on a push or even an off season or competitive bodybuilding and everything, they will more be concerned of, will my abs disappear? Okay, so when anyone will say that to me, coach, I might lose my the look of my abs and everything. The abs is not the biggest problem that you have right now. What you need to actually have in mind is whether you can eat this X amount of calories per
Yep,
day,
yep,
right?
yep.
That itself is a challenge. The
Yeah,
challenge
true.
of maintaining your abs is not, in fact, not that important. Not saying that you go balloon like Santa Claus,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
of course, a fair bit or rather shape of how your abs look like is fine. You don't need the 6-pack all year round, please.
Yep.
Anyone who wants to compete and going around the gym, lifting up your shirt showing your abs and saying that you're off season, no, you're not off season. All right, I this is my pet peeve.
All right,
If
understand, yeah.
any young guys who, I mean, I've been to the gyms around Singapore here and there. I work at Anytime Fitness, so I have access to so many outlets. I will overhear some kids will say, I would say these kids are up and coming. Oh, bro, I have this off-season plan, blah blah blah, but I still want to keep my abs. I like looking at them. Are you for real?
I mean, okay, let me argue this topic for them,
Yeah.
in a sense. But I mean, to a certain extent, yes, definitely you can keep that shadow of your abs.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm saying about shadow,
Yeah.
not this hard 6
Yeah.
packs and everything.
So I mean,
But
one need to understand. I mean, what we mean by off season and stuff. How much calories that we need to put in. It's not that every week we're gonna push 500 calories up
Yeah.
into your meal plan
Yeah.
and stuff. That's ridiculous. So I mean, by pushing the surplus calories, we take accordance changes in terms of the check-ins, whatever you have sent us every week, probably, or
Right.
every 2 weeks one. It depends on your coaches. Yeah, don't quote me. Yeah, so yeah, I believe it takes sometimes for one to understand more of like what we are covering today, more to newbies, more to rookies.
correct, true.
Yeah. So okay, let's not segue further because I think
Okay.
we will be a bit segue further. Okay, back to the bodybuilding scene in Singapore. I mean,
Before you start that goes to show how much passion we have between us about bodybuilding, prepping, everything. We
Oh.
want the good stuff for the young ones who's coming up, and who's trying to put forth a good physique. Right, that's what our intention here right now.
yeah,
okay?
definitely.
Carry on.
Yeah. So to say that again, coming back, based on what we want to cover, based on bodybuilding scene in Singapore today. So I mean, looking at the current platform in Singapore right now. Sorry, we have only, I would say, 2 local platform that are running. I can see FM Fitness Movement that's been for a while,
Yep.
and the new platform now, Dream Aesthetic.
Okay.
Okay, but recently I've just watched through social media. I was not there for the FM League. Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a FM League show.
yeah, true
To
enough.
be honest.
Yeah, and in 8 weeks or 7 weeks time, I believe there will be the Dream Aesthetic Classic. So yeah, I think with by the time we post this video out for episode, probably it will be 4 to 3 weeks out from the Dream Aesthetic Classic. So nonetheless, what I've heard and what I've seen, that the competitors are getting little in the local platform. What do you think of that?
What do you mean by getting little? The
The
amount.
quantity, the amount of athletes and the amount of competitions in each category.
Okay. Or probably you have probably 2-3 people competing in one category.
Yes,
True?
even what I've heard based on Dream Aesthetic, I think recently they have posted they might want to push forward or cancel the show because of the
Not
lack
enough.
of sign up. Yeah,
Okay.
and even for the FM League, I heard that it's not enough competitors. What do you think about that?
Okay, I've seen this forthcoming.
Okay.
That's why you don't see me often at some of the shows. Even if I were to be there, it's because some of my guys are competing.
For sure, same here.
Yeah. So if you look at it, some of these young guys or even ladies, the motivation to compete is not there.
Why is it so?
Okay, let me put it this way: social media.
So I'm just gonna be an ass. I'm just gonna make this more interesting. So can I say that now in this scene, it's more 80% of in trend rather than passion.
Sure. Okay, let me expand on that. Sometimes you do not need to compete to be an influencer or to be known, right?
I agree.
You put up videos, you give tips and so on and so forth on social media, you get X amount of followers,
True.
right? So with that, and it comes with variables of like probably companies wanting to sponsor you in terms of health and fitness, right? Why would you want to compete when you have this avenue for you to have to put out content based on fitness, exercise, whatever not, right? And then you get followers, you get recognized.
Yeah.
And then you recognize, of course, from followers seeing you on the streets or in the gym or so on and so forth. And you have companies who want to sponsor you, right? Then you don't need to push yourself hard. I mean,
You're talking about an athlete, how they want to grow in this business, right?
that's correct. So
Okay.
they will be thinking, why must I step on stage when I can do this online, right? So that is one of the things I say about social media. And of course, will be the young guys who really actually want this for passion. They want to really push themselves.
Yep.
And that is very becoming smaller.
Yeah, I mean, touching based on that. I mean, yes, you say there's a lot of ways of to be as a fitness influencer, training, posting, getting sponsor, etc. But I mean, why currently right now? Okay, I wouldn't say why. What I observe personally is that a lot of the newbies, the rookies and stuff, they are avoiding the local show, but yet doing an international show.
Okay.
What has missing in our bodybuilding scene in our local platform that has not enticed our local athlete to compete in their organization?
Look, honestly, my honest opinion.
I mean, I got my opinion, but I'm just putting this on you.
Okay. If you compare a local show with NPC,
Yeah.
or even a NPC run pro card qualifier kind of thing. Honestly, anyone will try to do that, even though the cost will be higher, right? I would try my luck there, even though that's my first time going there. But what I like to see local shows up the game or you can work together with NPC. You join forces. At least.
But okay, hold your thoughts. Up the game. In what sense up the game? Should the athlete up their looks in performance look, or should the organizers up their price point so that we can bring the volume to the platform stage? Which one are we talking about?
I'm more concerned of, okay, don't get pissed off with this, okay? What I'm trying to say is, the organizers, please make sure that you guys up your game in terms of promoting the sport. Up the game of cash prize, whatever not, right? And promote it properly, market it properly, social media, everywhere, right down to probably show it on, highlight a few athletes that won before, and have mentorship, everything. You need to go full on in this thing, so that the kids, the outreach is got to be there. So in fact, get more companies to jump into this.
Okay, this thing as well, companies. I mean, as we've been in this industry for quite some time. Okay, I mean, and going to this local show, why are local supplement company have not been the main sponsor for this local show?
Okay, if you look at it now, because of the economics of the world, being a supplement company also has some costs.
For sure.
Yeah, and bringing supplements also is not cheap nowadays. And to provide sponsorship to these shows, also as a company owner or whatever not, is what's it in for me.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm just being the devil advocate.
Yeah. I mean, if you can market your, your competition well, and with me on board, and you also marketing my company, of course that also will broaden my outreach, right? So it's a win-win situation. But if you're not going to market my company and in tandem with your competition, where is the return of investment here?
Yeah, because the sad thing I came across to all these shows, right? Like, for example, anyone, a gym aesthetic or fitness movement, then at the entrance there's only two so-called sponsorship, push card, selling clothes, and nobody's there.
A few pre-workouts, protein shakes,
pre-workout. I mean, and it's not exposed properly, not exposed professionally, and it's not reached to the audience who bought ticket, knowing that, hey, we got apparels, we got supplements and stuff like that. I feel that is quite sad, that whereby the organization runs that but do not support the sponsors. That's how I feel that the sponsors don't feel appreciated.
Yeah, that's why that's why I say again, the organizers need to put forth a more robust approach in marketing the sponsors. When I say robust, means you really need them involved. In fact, try to change the venue where probably they can be included in that show itself, in terms like probably in the hall where they're having the shows, you know. In between intermissions, they can have guys like, okay, there's a booth there, you guys can take a look and stuff like that. Promote them when you have an intermission in between. Let's say after the bodybuilding show, we have the bikini, there's a break for the audience, right? Ask the audience, look, we have our sponsors outside there, or probably inside the sites there, to make sure that they also get the coverage, right? And also they probably be recognized in that way. But ultimately, it's still on the organizers' court.
True.
Alright, so on that hindsight, we need to really explore how to improve also the organization of how they promote the athletes also. Some of these athletes are also sponsored.
Yeah, I mean, I would okay, let's be honest. I wouldn't say all these athletes are sponsored, because in my eyes, and I believe you agree, and I believe some of the audience also agree, or the coaches or athletes out there agree, all these athletes are only ambassadorship.
Oh yes, true.
Yeah, being ambassador, there's nothing in for them. It's just that code and stuff like that. But
let me rephrase that. Okay, back in my day, I was sponsored by a few companies.
Oh, like who?
Some of them are not around because of the COVID and everything, right? So when I say sponsored back in my day, I can take whatever I want. Right? Whatever. I've given a set of budget probably from the first sponsor. I can have a protein shake, I can have pre-workout, so on and so forth. at whatever time I want, right? So that also, with that, I do still have a code on top of it. Nowadays, they do not get that. They just have a code.
Yeah.
So there's the difference in being sponsored or ambassador, right? So
Because I think I can understand why being an ambassador is the starting step. It's because they want to see whether you can sell.
true,
But
true.
I wouldn't mention a specific company and stuff, but most of companies are basically, I would say some or most of company, wanting this athlete to promote the supplements, but the supplement is out of stock, but they have to take another supplements. So, in a way to say whereby let's say I promote Evogen, then I've been saying about Evogen, then the stuff is out of stock, then I need to promote Newton, but it doesn't make sense for an athlete to do that, right?
Because if the athlete itself don't use that, that's a
Yeah,
bit
exactly. I always believe
contradicts
that.
everything.
Yeah, I always believe that basically, I would only promote stuff that I would find, I deem that it's working for me. It has benefit for me that I can promote this to people.
Yeah.
Else, I wouldn't even dare to mention this online or on my social media that this thing is workable for me.
Yep.
And it can help.
So that's
people out there.
that's why it boils down to trust, right?
Yep.
As an athlete or a sponsored athlete, you need to build trust with people that reach out to you, or you sell something, or rather you promote something. So when you create trust on that base, there's always a returning customer.
True.
Right? So when these guys will just promote codes, there's no incentive for them to actually build that trust. Right? So not against these people, right? But you touch your heart.
Nothing personal, yeah.
You touch your heart. Do you really actually in it for the amount of because behind every code you will get X amount of commission based on that, right?
Yeah.
So is that really what you want to do, commission, or you really believe that the product you sell is what you actually use? You know what I mean? So if you actually use that product, by all means promote that. But if you actually don't use that product and you say, oh, buy this X and X, use my discount code about 10% or 5% off, whatever not, you're selling a product. But then of course the person who buys it will be thinking like, oh, okay, it works kind of a yes or no, placebo effect, whatever not, right?
Understand.
So it doesn't really, as a person, you ask yourself that question, are you really doing justice to you and the person that buys that product?
For sure. Alright, I mean, I guess we've covered a lot for today. Like, I mean, yes, the primary topic was bodybuilding scene in Singapore. I mean, at least we have covered what the audience can understand.
True.
Was the bodybuilding scene and stuff. Well, definitely along our episode, we will touch base here and there about
Of
the
course,
bodybuilding scene.
it's a very broad subject, and,
Yep.
and where when we talk about fitness and bodybuilding, prepping for a show, it is a multifaceted approach, and
Yeah,
there's a lot you can talk about.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess is we don't want to pull this episode too long.
Too long, yes, correct.
Yeah, I think we were going to sums up for today. Moving forward, basically, we're gonna bring on to the platform the owner of
Phil's, yes.
Performance Stretch.
We're gonna have you on the show.
Yeah. We're gonna bring probably Haider and Mr. Shafiq,
Okay.
on board. But Haider, as you guys know, basically he's the classic daddy, self-proclaimed.
We see how's his opinion and approach
Yeah.
to fitness, and where he take his business and how he compete and
Yeah.
combine, or rather work around what he's doing.
He's I would say in a way a successful entrepreneur in a way, gonna be much more successful in the future, and bringing his co-partner as well, Shafiq, who does boxing in the sideline. Very nice guy. Yeah, we're gonna dig into their mind on how business and being the sponsors or our podcast be like. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna shout out to Phil's again for sponsoring us for this podcast, and we want to share.
And he sponsored the microphones also.
And I would love you guys to, subscribe, like, and follow,
comment.
and share and comment.
Yep.
Whatever you
Everything, right?
in
So we get this ball rolling, we get more people jumping onto this platform, and we try to promote more of health, fitness, bodybuilding in the local scene of Singapore.
Yeah, I mean, let us know what and who you would love to see
True.
on this platform. And trust me, we have lines of lineups that you guys will like it, but we still want an input from you guys.
Yeah, we
moving
want your
forward.
opinions, we want your list of people if you want to be on the show, right?
Yep. All right, till then, ciao,
Have a good day.
bye bye.